All right, guys, welcome to the Internet Sports Broadcast Network. Four friends hanging out, kitchen table talk. Todd, Donovan, Hurdie, and Smooth Dave, who's not with us right now tonight. Will probably join us a little bit later. Probably surprise us with a cool guest as usual. Who knows? But we still don't have sports, guys. What's going on? Todd, you've been fishing?
Well, man, the UFC's working around it. I mean, aren't they having a fight out on tribal property somewhere?
Yeah, that's what they say. They just announced it.
I'd have to say Dana White's probably got one of the best business minds out there. And, hey, you know, if you can't do it where you're at, you got to go do it somewhere else.
Yeah, well, they had tossed around buying an island to put it on and hosting it. But, yeah, they landed it's in California, actually.
Is it in a secluded area?
Yep, it's in a tribal it's in a tribal area. I mean, I don't.
Oh, cool.
I don't. Yeah.
Well, I know, but away from cities and stuff's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's at the Tachi Palace Casino Resort.
Now, is that going to just be completely just them in there and nobody else? Is that what they're doing?
Well,
it's going to be all stream?
They're going to have some criticism with the whole thing moving forward, but I'm pretty sure that they have some protocols and protections. Right. He said that anyway, it's coming. He's going to come out and give but I will say this will be the highest pay-per-view for UFC ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, people that don't even like you.
So my sister, just to let you know, introduced our show to some people on the street.
Really?
They had a 6 feet apart kind of get together kind of deal.
Yeah.
And as they were talking, because they're all bored, and they said, well, you know, my brother's on a podcast, and
cool.
So they sit around and you know, all in this big backyard away from each other and listen to our podcast. And
that's awesome.
They really liked it. So
they did. Cool. That's good news.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, they really liked it.
Okay, so before we get into the draft and what's going on, Todd, we've all been off, and so you've been doing some fishing. Can you give us a personal fishing report, please, sir?
Man, I tell you what, it's the best therapy, man. Just get out on the water. You're away from everybody.
Right.
Granger's been beautiful, working up the river. It's so peaceful, and there are all types of birds out there. It's like a bird sanctuary. I mean, you see like giant pelicans.
Right.
The birds, and I mean, and they've got away like 30, 40 pounds. I don't even know how those birds fly. But you see them out there, and man, it's been nice. And actually, none of the fish are actually in the river. They're all actually out in the lake. I spent 3 hours working up the river and coming back into the main lake, and I decided to, you know, open up the boat and like run it, because, you know, you're idling it all day. It's not real healthy for it. So matter of fact, I was fishing with a buddy of mine, and I was like, well, hey, man, we'll just like go over here, turn the radar on, see what we find. And boom, we found all the fish, caught all of our fish, you know, in like, I don't know, like an hour. Went home and fed 3 of my friends, and it was good.
Now, you bass fishing the edges? Is that what you're fishing?
No, it was white bass. And
okay, right.
You know, no, I mean, I like bass, but I'm kind of one of those sportsmen where I like to eat. You know what I can.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And like, you know, with the bass, you know, I kind of like to just, if I'm going to catch them, you know, it's usually because somebody else wants to fish for them.
Right.
And like when I take my friends, I'm like, well, hey, you know, since you're going to be here, we're on the boat. What kind of fishing do you like? And some people, you know, like to pitch and flip and you know, work bands.
Sure.
It is just like really, really good eating stuff. And
so are you cleaning them and getting them right home, and y'all cooking them out that night? Is that the gig?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Best way to do it.
Best way to do it, man. Catch them and eat them.
Yeah, Donovan and I, we've been on some catfishing trips where, you know, when you look at our aggregate catch, you know, we've caught over 400 pounds worth of catfish. And,
wow.
It is it's pretty awesome. I mean, I caught a 30-pounder out at Lake Travis like a month ago. And it's very, very enjoyable. It's a wonderful sport. You know, you get out of the water. And I mean, even if you don't catch fish, I mean, being out there on a boat, the wind, the waves, the wildlife, you know, and we didn't have much for wildlife, at spring break this year. I was out on the water, so there wasn't very good wildlife viewing, but fishing was good though.
So, hey, are you one of these people like to watch all the fishing shows? I like to watch some of those when they're doing doing the competition, and
yeah, matter of fact, I've learned a lot from this girl. Her name's Louisa.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we could put a link to her. It's
Let's
called
do.
Fishing with Louisa and her
Let's
husband, Captain Jimmy. And she seems to know more than he does.
Cool.
I mean, I've learned a lot about, saltwater fishing, which I'd like to do. I just don't get to do it very much because I live near freshwater stuff. That's why.
Right. But you do get down every once in a while, right?
Yeah, I do. And it usually costs me a lot of money because I have a tendency to hit wildlife. Last year did like $9,000 damage.
Hit a deer.
You hit that deer. You tore up that pick-me-up truck, didn't you?
Oh, I tell you what, it's like you wouldn't think that a little 4-point deer could do 9,000.
I saw it. You nailed it.
Oh yeah, I mean, took out the bumper, the radiator, the AC condenser, the intercooler, and
right,
I was like,
whole front end.
Yeah, but the good old Chevy truck, man, it made it.
I was driving. We drove out to Mason the other day just to take a trip, just to get out of the house, and I was thinking, man, there would be no way I'd want to be driving back at nighttime on that back road.
Right.
I saw a dead deer on the side of the road, and I'm thinking, man, at night, you're liable just to get smacked about 5 times coming back on 29. Man, crazy.
I gotta tell you guys a story about Todd. So he's legendary for having issues with his vehicles, right?
Right. Yeah.
Even though he's a mechanic,
but the cool thing is he can fix them.
Right. No, it's awesome. So we're heading back from our annual Marine Corps fishing trip. And we have a blowout, and I think we're on the toll, if I'm not mistaken, Todd.
Yeah, we were way out on that toll, and I still had a bottle of whiskey left,
and a potato shooter.
Yeah, my tater gun.
Cool.
Yeah, so while we were waiting for the cavalry, we worked on the whiskey and shot a whole bunch of taters
into the field from the truck.
Great entertainment, man.
Yes, true story.
I usually try to like have
that's great.
Backup plan. These things never go the way you want them to, or at least in my life. And it's like I always have the best plans, but they never work. So I always got to have plan B. And
get to know us on the Internet Sports Broadcast Network, guys. Tonight we're just letting our hair down. This is what we sound like when we don't have sports. But I will tell you, fishing's cool, man. People need to do that. If people have,
you don't have to do it with somebody. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with the group, but you don't have to be around each other.
Right. Just
show up there. Y'all can talk and have your social distance, and
that's right.
Yeah, because like the Chinese flu doesn't survive, the sunlight. The UV breaks it down.
Yeah.
So if you're out there in the sunlight, you're in a safe space.
I think you're okay if you're just out there by yourself. Don't even worry about that.
Sure.
Well, I actually advise everybody always take somebody, because Donovan and I, we have a family that we absolutely love, the Cole family, and Mr. Cole. He was for Team Skeeter, right?
Mm-hmm.
He fished for them for years, and he was down south doing a tournament, and he was fishing by himself, and he was on the bow of the boat working the trolling motor. Trolling motor hit a stump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he went flying off the front of the boat and bored his head on another submerged stump, and had to drive like 2-3 hours away by himself. I think he got something like 27 or 32 stitches.
I think today you need to partner up. I really do. I think it's just safe to have 2 people, period.
Yeah, I just like we had friends that husband died. They were out on Lake Travis, and he was in his boat driving too fast, hit a submerged stone, and passed away. So my mom bought me a life jacket, and I was like, I'm not gonna wear it, unless you buy me a good one. She goes buy one, and I'm like, Mom, that's not a good one. That's like a big bulky one. one that, that instantly, inflates, when you go out, right?
They look like a duck.
Yeah.
On impact.
Yeah. And then when she's like, well, she goes, well, that's $180. It's like, well, Mom, I thought you loved me, and about, how much your mom really loves you when she doesn't want to.
Oh my God. Oh, that's funny.
But the thing is, though, is I've actually been wearing it, and I actually went off the back of my boat, like when we're trolling. That's where you.
Yeah, you stand up on the edge, right on the edge.
Well, you put your bait or whatever your lure, in the water, and you just kind of troll and drive. Well, where we were doing that up the river, it's real stumpy, so you get hung up, and when you get hung up, you have to throw the boat in reverse. You have to reel up your line, and then you have to usually try to work the lure off from the back
where it's caught. Yeah.
Yeah. So you work it from the backside. Well, my buddy Barry, who he's like my fishing mentor, out there. Barry's just a good old boy. He weighs about 300 pounds. I told him that, and he goes, "I don't weigh like 300." I was like, "Yeah, you do." He goes, "No, man."
In the morning.
He's like, "Yeah, I weigh 295." I said,
That's funny.
That's like 300 in my book.
Yeah, in the morning.
Oh, this is a Barry story, right? So we're going out to Ranger. They have several boat ramps, right? And one of them, where the parking lot is, it's real close to the water. And then there's another one that's up the hill, but it's a lot nicer. It's bigger. They have bathrooms and everything. And so we go by the first boat ramp, and he goes, "Well, I want to go to Taylor Park." And I was like, "Well, I want to go to Wilson Fox. They got facilities, bathrooms, stuff like that." He goes, "Well, it's got that big old hill." And I was like, "Well, Barry, you worried about like walking up a big old hill?" He goes, "Well, we're out fishing all day, and I gotta walk up that hill." I'm like, "No, come on, Barry. It's like time to go on a diet and get your workout." It's just poor Barry. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, Barry, I got hung up, and we're in reverse, and I'm on the back of the boat, and I'm like, "Hey man, make sure we're in neutral." And he goes, "Yeah, we're in neutral." Well, we were in neutral. We're in reverse. Hit another stump, and so I went flying over the back of the boat. Yeah, I lost my my prescription sunglasses. Lost my rod and reel, of course. Couldn't find that.
Lucky you didn't get hurt.
Yeah, well, and I did get gored on the way going into the water.
Okay, so you did hit something. Okay.
Yeah, on the underside. But the good thing is, it was in the winter. I had a jacket on, but I also had that $180 life vest on, and it automatically inflated. And I tell you what, that thing is awesome, and I wear it all the time now.
So highly recommended.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, guys, we still on Smoooth Day. Go ahead, Donovan.
So what you're telling me is fishing is even like more dangerous than UFC.
That can be. Okay. Yeah, I mean, people die. You got.
I mean, that's okay. All right. I get it.
I'm betting you that a lot of people fishing that have been hurt or probably get caught in thunderstorms and get hit by lightning and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Or they sink their boats.
I've got 10 stories I could tell you right now, but we're not gonna. This isn't a fishing show.
Right. We're going to move on to the draft, but I would imagine that storms kill a lot of people in the water. So,
oh my goodness!
There you go. All right, guys. So hey, Donovan, catch us up a little bit on draft, some information. You've been doing. You're one of the few guys that was able to get some research in, or a little bit. Can you bring us up? We'll try to ad-lib off you a little bit.
Well, so I pulled up CBS's mock draft, and I was looking at it, and of course the Bengals have the first pick, and unless something crazy happens, Joe Burrow's going to go to the Bengals. I mean, from LSU. I mean that's going to happen. And I think Washington is what they're saying is going to pick Chase Young. So those two are kind of, from what I've heard, it's kind of that's the way it's going to be. Everything else is kind of after that, nobody really knows, which is kind of cool. But I was looking through all this. I mean, I'm a college football person, and I'm sitting here looking. You have LSU, Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Ohio State. You have Jeff Okudah, Ohio State. And then I'm just going to not tell you the names, but you have Alabama, Clemson, Auburn. You have an Iowa, which is, of course, it's an O-line.
Right.
O-liner or a tight end. They put people in the draft all the time. An outlier, Oregon State. You got Georgia. You got Louisville, Oklahoma, Alabama. You got an outlier, Houston, Alabama. You see my trend here? LSU, Florida. You got South Carolina, TCU, outlier. Clemson, again. You got Baylor, an outlier, which they're Denzel Mims.
Right.
I'm doing the top 30.
Right.
You got Utah State, an outlier. Another Oklahoma, another LSU, another Georgia. You get my point?
Yeah.
It's insane. I mean, it's not so coaching matters in so huge,
Yes.
but you got to have the Jimmys and Joes. The X's and O's will come if you're, in the top 30% of your profession, top 40%, which you have to get to a Division I program, you would think.
Right.
But it's all about the X's and O's. I mean, it's all about the Jimmys and Joes, not the X's and O's. I mean, these are all the people putting everybody in the league, and that goes off of film, that goes off of just the combine.
Combine.
I mean, yeah, and film, obviously, film's the biggest one. It should be the biggest one. But anyway, I was sitting here looking at this, and I was going, my gosh, not one Texas player was on here.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. But you would think that somebody was good enough to go from Texas.
Well,
and maybe they will up to the top 30. There's a lot of rounds in the draft. You know that.
Now, when you say Texas, you mean like
He means first round 30.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like UT, or
University
like the whole
of Texas.
state of Texas.
Well, this is a projection, and the only one is Jalen Rogers at 30,
at Baylor,
wide receiver from
right.
TCU.
Well, Baylor's
no, there was a Baylor. Yeah, Denzel Mims.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got nothing.
And that's first round. Right.
Maybe we got something wrong with the water.
No, it's all the good players are going elsewhere.
They're in that SEC or Big Ten.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, it's driving me nuts
ACC.
right now. But they are going to have the draft. They're going to have a virtual draft, which is cool.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Nobody gets to cheer for you.
I mean, yeah, no, but I mean, it's kind of stupid to me actually watching the draft when, Roger Goodell comes up there and he says, all right, the next one's in this. He's still going to do it. His face is going to be up on the right, left, or the top left, or wherever.
Right.
And so-and-so's on the clock, and it's always held in New York, right?
Right.
Well, it had been. I think, did they change that up? The last couple of years, I might be wrong, but it's always been in New York prior to that. And it's one of those, okay, same thing over and over, and then people boo, and then when he comes out, it's I'm kind of excited about not having to hear the background noise from that crap.
But generally they when they did the drafts, they do it down in that downtown area, and they just have the drones flying over the crowds up the narrow street, right? And then you would see the crowd right up front where they were doing the draft. So if they stream it on TV, they'll just ignore that part, and it still probably look pretty cool. They'll probably pipe in some applause and stuff, don't you think?
Oh, sure.
They'll make it do something. Hey, I got something funny so anyhow, that's the first round, the top 30, right?
Right.
And then how many more rounds of drafts are there? Doesn't it go up to like what?
Oh, it's 3 days of drafts.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So there's going to be a lot of players pulled out of this, but in the top 30. So, you'll probably see quite a few people from Texas, Baylor, Texas Tech. I'm sure they'll start pulling them eventually, but
I don't see a lot from UT being.
Yeah.
There's a few.
They got to get their act together, man. They're too big a school not to have a good football program.
Well,
Sorry.
What killed me during the early 2000s, like say 2000, 2010, they had the most people in the NFL and the most people drafted.
Right.
And they didn't have the most first rounders. There were several classes that had the most first rounders drafted, but second and third round, fourth round picks that stayed in the NFL for years that are just now retiring.
Right.
They had they had more than USC. They had more than Miami. They had more than all those other, and that's how you are consistently really, really good, is when you have the second, third, and fourth rounders that go to the NFL and they sustain. They're good enough to play in the NFL. They're
Right.
not the marquee guys, but you still have to have those marquee guys.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is when you think about the history of football with University of Texas, you
Right.
think about the great teams they've had, you think about the great string of players they've put out over the years. How does a university this size in this kind of city go down so fast from those great days, right?
Well, it's
It's
all about the Jimmys and Joes.
I know, but why couldn't a school like UT get the best Jimmy and Joes, right? Think about that.
Okay.
I mean,
they can.
do you think if Saban was at Texas, they'd be a winning program?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
No, I mean, because he is a genius of putting it all together as far
Right.
as X's and O's. He puts a lot of people around him. Of course, he knows every position group. So he puts, I don't know if you've noticed, y'all probably have, but he has a lot of retreads, and I call them retreads, head coaches that got fired because of this or that were really good coordinators, right? They get the
Right.
job as a head coach, they fail. He brings them back because the reason they became a head coach at said universities because they were a great coordinator. So he brings them back and installs some of their verbiage and gets a new perspective on it. I mean, Sarkisian. There's so many that he's retreads that have come through there, and of course they do well, and then they end up with another job too. He's not stupid. But his fundamentals, his process is unlike anything that I've ever seen before. And I've read a couple of articles on him. I haven't read a book about him, but just his process is so in the Marine Corps. Todd and I were in the Marine Corps, and the first thing they tell you in the Marine Corps is, we will not ask you to do anything that we haven't taught you. So relax. We're going to stress you out, but relax, because we're going to show you how to brush your teeth. We're going to show you how to wash. We're going to show you how to do everything in the Marine Corps. So we're not going to ask you to do anything that we haven't taught you. And I think it's the same fundamental he's applied in the football world.
Right.
So, when you look at a kid, I say a kid, an 18 or 19, 20-year-old kid, and say, now, the last 2 days we told you to do it this way. Why did you do it that way? We showed you to do it this way. Why don't you do it that way? Okay, well, don't do it that way. And if you do it that way, you're not going to play. I mean, it's simple. But when you're a factory, when I say a factory, a football factory like Alabama is, kids know they can go there and they'll learn. They get the fundamentals. And
they're going to be good.
Yes.
They're going to rank.
They're going to be good.
They're going to get a chance for a national championship
Yes,
and rings,
absolutely.
and they're going to get notoriety for draft and go on and move to pro. So they get the whole what we call the wagon wheel or the to get right to the top. They've got all the spokes in place, man. Perfect.
Right. But the problem is sometimes their potential is already used up. When I say their potential, they're maxed out because they have a great program.
Right.
So that's why you see some of these other programs have these just phenomenal athletes that are untapped that end up in the NFL, and you go, where in the heck did he come from?
Right. Like the guy that just got drafted that was playing in the XFL, the quarterback, right? There's an example.
Well, he was actually pretty good. He was at Temple.
I understand, but he wasn't known.
Well, no, because he was at Temple.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So Donovan, when did kind of the systemic, decline of UT football, when did that start?
After the 2009 season.
So, I mean, it's been a decade of decline.
No, I mean, it happened because personally, and I've met Mac Brown. He's an awesome guy, and I am so rooting for him at North Carolina because I thought he was an awesome coach. But I think if they'd have won against Alabama in that national championship game, I think he'd have retired. I really do. I think it disturbed him so much that happened that he didn't retire. That's just my opinion. That's just
And you
me.
think what you're saying is you think he stayed just a little bit too long.
He stayed too long,
Okay.
and I think some of his hires he whipped on some of his hires. And when I say some of his hires, he Manny Diaz, he brought him in, and he was great at Mississippi State, and he asked around and said, what defense coordinator, because he was looking for a defensive coordinator. What he called some coaches and said, which one do you hate to go against? He said, well, Manny Diaz, because we don't know what's coming. So he had this kind of same as like Todd Orlando defense, which
Yep.
a gimmicky defense because nobody in the SEC was pretty much 4-3 front, and it was kind of standard. If you didn't have the Jimmys and Joes, you get rolled. And he came in with this elaborate scheme, which once you figure it out, you get killed.
Yeah. Gotcha. You're right. Makes sense.
And I mean, there's a reason that there are certain defenses have stood the test of time, right?
Well, good talent, good players, and able to run their
good
scheme
coaching.
successfully, and
Right.
and good coaching to make those things work. Because
Right.
if you didn't have a coach on the field, you'd have sandlot football, and everybody'd score, and there'd be no
Right.
defense, right?
But my thing is these gimmick defenses, they're good for a year, and then everybody gets film on them. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and they start playing
I
around
get
with
it
plays
now.
to break it, right?
I get it. Yeah,
Right.
I get it. That's why Todd Orlando, he was doing great at
Right.
Houston. I mean, he shut Lamar Jackson down. They sacked him like 13 times in the freaking game.
Right, because they figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, they just tore him up.
Right.
But
that was brutal. I mean, it's like what team is playing? I mean, this is not Lamar Jackson. You know what
right.
I mean?
But what I'm saying is once you have that on film, you go, okay, this is where they come from, and you're looking over, and they can say what they want, but they know defensive coordinators on the other end, offensive coordinators, they look at signs and they kind of know what they're saying back to the defense, and there's tips on when you're sending a corner blitz or a safety blitz or a linebacker blitz, and then the way that everything's changed, they're changing the play with what 8 seconds left, 10 seconds left on the shot on the play clock.
Right.
They're looking at a call and they're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah, he's bringing pressure from the safety. All right, yeah, let's go.
Well, that's experience too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be able to have experience to see things on the field happening.
To answer your original question, that was the downfall with some of the hires that I think Mac made. So Mac wasn't in it. He was relying on his people that were supposed to be good to do a lot of good, do well, and they got rid of the offensive coordinator, and it's elapsed my mind, that was with UT for years. That went to Iowa, actually did really well. I can see him. I've met him. I've just, the name has elapsed me. But he was Vince Young. He was, I mean, Major Applewhite's coordinator. He was Vince Young's coordinator. He was, damn, I'm drawing blanks now.
So I guess when you have some,
he got rid of him though.
When you have an institution, right, and it's a long form, institution, people kind of get comfortable, and you get stagnation, and people get kind of lazy, and it's like, I think a lot of times when you see that, it's like you gotta change it up, you gotta reconfigure, you gotta get some fresh blood in there, and you can't have people too comfortable, because why would they change? It's like, hey, we did it last year, we'll do it again this year, and it's all right. And I think when you mix up, the hierarchy, the coaches and who they're around, it's good. It pumps a lot of life back in the institution. So hopefully UT can turn that corner and get back on ball.
Well, you just made me think of a question, Donovan. Maybe we can answer, maybe we can't. But let's look at how big UT used to be up till 2009, right? Great team, bench young, national champion, whatever. Name me some other powerhouse teams that haven't been there or have just lost it that much in the country.
Well, USC.
Right. There you go. How about UCLA?
UCLA. I mean, well, UCLA is, you know what?
They're decent, but you don't hear from them like you did when you used to have the USC UCLA game. Remember those games in the Rose Bowl when they played it in that? Everybody couldn't wait to watch that game.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan hasn't lived up to the billing.
No.
I mean, they really haven't. Penn State.
Yeah. But they had there's a reason there, but they've recovered fairly well considering what they went through. But I'm talking about teams that just dropped off that were always there. And you've named
Florida State. Florida State.
Right.
Both of those.
Right.
I mean,
how about Tennessee?
Tennessee. My gosh, when they let go.
I mean, they look like a 3A high school team.
When they
I'm
let
sorry,
go.
I didn't mean to say that. I got some friends there. They're going to kill me.
When Fulmer, when they let go of him, they have never been the same.
No,
they haven't.
I would say Tennessee's the worst of all those.
Sure. No, I mean, you're there.
And I just can't, and so I'm thinking that there's just some teams that there's other teams that go through cycles of changes. They keep their coaching staff in place. They may have one or two seasons off, right? But then they come roaring back and they end up with good seasons because they kept their coaching staff. They just had to rebuild their team base, right? After they lost a lot of seniors or something. So,
and they had to reinvent themselves.
They have to reinvent themselves a little bit, right? But that surprises me about those schools we mentioned. How can not Tennessee, UT, USC, as cool as that is, as cool as those schools are, how are they not able to keep themselves in a cycle maybe every 2-3 years, right? They're gone. You don't think about them.
And it's, I think a lot of it's arrogance, because they've been so good for so long.
Right.
They get complacent, and and it's, once again, it comes down to recruiting too.
I know.
It comes down to recruiting, and if you're not the shiny object on the wall that the recruits are looking for, they're like, but you're not the cool place to go. I might get developed there, and I might end up in the league, but I want to go have some fun too.
I mean, yeah, if a kid gets a recruit and maybe gets a little bit better chance to play at Tennessee, but then gets offered to maybe sit on the bench for a year or so at an Auburn or Alabama because he's that good, but he needs some experience behind some guys, where are you going?
Well, if the parents are involved at all, they go to Auburn or Alabama.
Right. Well, I'm saying, and that's a bad example, but my point is, you are right. You're going to go, oh crap, I got to go to that school, right? Exactly.
The shiny thing, like Oregon. Oregon's kind of reinvented themselves. They got a great coach. Yeah. They're always flashy. They change their uniforms. They're the,
and they're winning. They're a winning program no matter what.
Who
wants to play Oregon?
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Definitely all this is going to get very, very interesting when universities start their marketing department.
Oh yeah, and then you've got the money thing coming.
And then they're like, hey, so our marketing department's going to build your brand. You know what I mean? And then you can sell it and make money too. So it's definitely going to get upended, and the sports world will become very, very interesting. With athletes being able to make money to play, and own their identity and their brand.
Yeah, sure. But I will tell you this, and this is my prediction, and I've heard some.
I think it personally falls apart. But go ahead, Donovan.
Done some research on this upcoming recruiting cycle, and I think kids are going to stay at home. This recruiting cycle, the 2021.
Oh yeah, because okay, got that.
Because of the coronavirus,
right?
And I think the parents are like, you know what? If this happens again, I want you close. I want you close. And
Good point.
I
Wow.
I really think that like
Sorry.
UT, I think Florida, the hotbeds, USC, I said Florida, Georgia, all the hotbeds. Ohio, it's a hotbed for talent. I think that those marquee places, when I say marquee, the traditional top 7-10 universities in the past 50 years, I think they're going to benefit from, because originally they're the hotbeds. If you look at it, and I mean LSU too. LSU's got more talent per capita than any state in the union, and I think a lot of kids will stay home that might go to Georgia, might go to Clemson, might be plucked off to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to stay home, and I think this recruiting cycle is going to benefit the hotbed names. When I say
Donovan,
So-
I think that's an excellent point.
yeah, we'll see. I could be completely wrong,
that's okay. It's still a good point.
but we'll see.
Good observation.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm going to flip this on you guys and tell you a little story. NASCAR's been running iRacing, virtual racing from their garages and their little computer setups this weekend, and they ran at Bristol.
No, they ran at Bristol. That's the place I've always wanted to go, by the way.
Well, Bubba Wallace had a crash and got so mad he screamed and yelled and he quit. And guess what? His sponsor quit.
He lost his sponsor.
He posted on Twitter he quit, and so his sponsor goes, "We're not quitters, but we quit you."
Oh.
Now, think about that.
This is where we're at. This is where we're at right now. Think about
Right.
that. I mean,
Think about that.
Good gosh.
So the 2 points. One is nothing changes from the real track to the iTrack. Those guys
Right.
get mad and want to fight each other and get at Bristol. I fought the wall and the wall won all the time. And then a guy loses his sponsorship that's a real good driver and a real good car because he got angry and quit the race. And so the sponsor tweeted back and said, "We quit you."
Gosh, that's a night race, right? It's a night race.
They did it in the day. No,
They did
you're thinking of Charlotte. You're thinking of the Charlotte.
No, I'm
track.
thinking of Bristol. I
They
thought
run it at night before, but they ran it at 2:00 on Sunday.
really.
125 laps or something like that.
Okay.
But anyhow, I thought that was bad. We've gotten to the point where a guy getting mad at his friends and quit the race is going to lose his sponsorship.
Well, I mean,
I'm
every
surprised
action,
Todd hadn't chimed up on that either,
every
too.
action has a reaction. Period.
I know, but I get it, but to me, I just could not pass talking about that tonight. To me, that just struck me as funny. That just struck me as funny, right? Well, I don't know where Smooth Dave ended up. Something's going on. I'm going to check up on him, make sure he's okay.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
And Todd, thanks for the fishing stories tonight, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to find somebody to go out with me Friday afternoon. We've got a barometric pressure is going to start dropping.
We got some bad storms. We're supposed to have some bad weather here tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so.
Real bad.
Captain Todd ain't scared of no water.
No, but just drive your truck down 29 after dark. We'll see you with the damaged front end again, probably. Man, I'm telling you guys, don't drive on 29 after dark.
Yeah.
Just don't go anywhere out there. Man, crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That's beautiful out there, by the way.
It is.
Okay, guys, so here's what I want to do. I've got a geologist, friend of mine, and he wants to, we're going to go out camping out there in a couple months when this thing's over, and we're going to go topaz hunting. You guys interested?
Topaz.
That's the number. It's the Gemma, Texas, and that's the only county that actual topaz can be found in.
And it's in where at? Mason?
In Mason.
Okay. No, I'm up for that.
And I'm up for just all taking our tents and camping out at the state park at Inks Lake right there. We're going to be in Llano County. I'll send more details, but maybe we could do that. What do y'all think? We
What
could
month?
have some fun. I don't know. I'm going to plan on it and see how this virus thing goes. But
Yeah,
couple months.
Put it where it's not in August.
Oh yeah, let's go in the middle of July when it's 100, okay? And let's build
No,
campfires. Yeah,
no,
come on.
I was thinking like, October-ish.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're good. It'll be cool.
Of course, it
So
could be
Todd,
100
would
here in
that be something
October.
you'd like to do?
Oh yeah, that
Okay,
sounds
cool.
very cool. Geology's cool.
Yep. That's cool.
I'll bring the barbecue pit and make sure we eat well.
Well, that's fine. And I'm doing, we got the tents and all that stuff. So, we just bring them and set them up in a semicircle and have some fun. Stay out there a couple of days. Hector can bring his geology equipment. We can see what's underground and everything. It's really cool. So,
Cool.
All right, guys. Any final thoughts?
It's a weird time we're living in, and
Yes, sir.
As of today and yesterday, it looks like things are kind of leveling out.
I hope so. I'm missing baseball, man.
And
I am.
I think we're going to have a football season, which is good. I don't know if the NBA is going to try to. I think they're probably done, but they still could.
They're talking about it. I think golf has a chance to come back and pick up their 4 majors somehow, some way.
They should. There's no reason for them not to be playing.
I think baseball could start right where they're on the schedule where they're supposed to be, you know, and not change anything. Just start where they would be after maybe they come back for 10 days to get loosened up and then they start playing. Right.
Yeah, you think about that. That's kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, it's true.
You think about all these athletes, and I mean, I know that this whole sequestration, from the public, it hasn't been good for me because, when you're stuck there, watching stuff on the TV, you're always walking by that refrigerator. And I don't know about y'all, but my refrigerator always says, hey, man, I got something in here you want,
Oh, it's bad.
It's like,
you're right.
It can't be good for athletes either. You know what I mean? And I just I encourage everybody to get out, and go do something out.
I take my dog out and walk him a couple miles every day just to get out of the house, right?
I don't go that far, but
you got to do something.
Donovan's dog won't go that far.
Right.
No, he can't.
Bubba. Yeah,
I'm dragging him like the last. No, I got an English.
Bubba tell him about Bubba. Tell me, he's a English bulldog, right?
He's an English bulldog, and he's too purebred, unfortunately.
Yeah,
he's a good dog though.
His aunt was actually the Marine Corps mascot at one time.
Well, that's cool, but he's not the kind of dog that wants to go on 3-mile walk.
Well, he loves the thought of it.
Right.
But when he goes, he takes off fine. And he's actually his highest weight was 78 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's at like 62, 63 pounds. Right. He's actually a little bit below what his target weight would be.
Right.
But with those dogs, you have to keep them lean. If not, they have a lot of other issues.
Yeah, exactly.
But he has no endurance. I mean, he's out the gate. He's great, but
good for a short spurt.
Right.
Yeah. No,
you have to carry him home.
Yeah, the quarter mile out, all happy. Quarter mile back, not so much.
Well, we didn't get the interview tonight. I'm not going to say that our podcast went to dogs. I think we did really good, us 3 guys tonight. So I'll find out what's going on with Smoooth Dave. You guys have been great. Thanks for filling in the gaps. Todd, have fun fishing Friday, man.
Hey, one more thing. Hold on.
Come on.
One more thing.
That's
Todd,
fine.
Have you watched Tiger King?
Oh yeah, man, that is a train wreck. Yeah, so I don't know why they would be calling me Todd Exotic, because
what do you mean you don't understand?
Well, because I mean I'm not of that persuasion, I mean I like the whole wearing the holstered 6-shooter kind of deal.
Yeah, I figured you did.
And I know I'm a little bit of a redneck.
He's 2 out of 3 so far, Donovan.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Donovan, you have to tell me, why are they calling me? Because we're at this club, right? This, club, and they're calling me Todd Exotic, and I was like, I just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Well, Todd, you do know you started fishing at 7:00 in the morning,
right?
On a Saturday,
right?
And you drank coffee, and then you were drinking other things after that.
Right. Right.
So by the time I got there, you were already shirtless, and you didn't stop till what, 2 in the morning?
Oh yeah. Well, and we were jumping off the boat in
Yeah.
58
Odd
degrees.
Exotic.
I,
What a
I,
name.
I mean, no, I literally had to go. I'm not going to get into it, but I literally had to go to the emergency room that night. Not me. I had to take somebody.
Oh
So,
no.
Yeah.
Well,
So
he's fine. He's
Okay,
absolutely
that's fine. Don't tell me.
Yeah,
Don't tell
everything
me.
turned out fine.
Don't want to know. Don't tell
yeah,
me.
I'm just saying. So
Todd Exotic. Is that gonna be his
some-
new nickname?
you know what? Other than the persuasion, there's a
Todd.
lot going on there.
The Todd
Yeah, I mean,
Exotic.
I have been known to wear boots and shorts and a cowboy hat, and that's
I've
it,
seen
you
it.
know? And that's just me. I don't care. Everybody can kiss, but yeah.
I I like my car fixed here. Here's my boots, my shorts, and my hat.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if you can't fix it with baling twine and chewing tobacco, you're in trouble.
Hey, Todd runs a great shop, guys.
Yeah, he does.
If you're in Round Rock, you've been around since 1967. The guy's genius with cars.
yes.
He's got a great staff. So we're making fun of him because he's a friend. Okay, they're
All,
awesome.
all my family,
Well,
all my
and
friends,
this is-
everybody goes to Todd because he's legit.
He's the best, man. He's
Yeah.
the best.
And my public service announcement is, you always need to have a plan B.
You're right. You do. Todd
Adult
the
beverage,
Exotic.
adult
Plan
beverage,
B.
your choice, that and a tater gun.
Did y'all know that they actually in the president's press conference brought up the Tiger King?
No.
Today they did.
You're kidding.
One of the questions to President Trump was, so your son, and he didn't say which one, he said your son is advocating for him to be pardoned because he's in prison at this point. And he said, what about the pardon? And have you seen the show? And he's like, I haven't seen it. But he named one of his sons. He said it had to be one of his sons. And everybody started laughing in the press conference. And then somebody showed him a picture of Joe Exotic. and he goes, so that's Joe Exotic. He goes, nah, I would have to look into it, but I have no idea about pardoning this guy.
But what I thought of, it was a train wreck. You have to watch it. Once you start watching it, you're like, yeah, I got to watch this next one. It's kind of funny because like his arch nemesis is doing the same thing he is.
Yeah.
And they're prostituting animals for money.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? It's like it's like two different sides. It's like, no, they're doing the same thing. So yeah, I guess her narrative is that she's going to charge money, and I guess her auspice is that she's giving them good homes. Well, Joe looks like he takes care of his animals pretty good too.
Well, it's just funny.
Todd,
they're all crooked.
If you want to see one that's a train wreck, go watch Ozark too.
Oh yeah, I already finished that.
I just finished it. Yeah.
Me too.
My goodness.
Tonight's sports broadcast has turned into movie reviews and binge watching. That's how bored we are.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
awesome. Hey, you guys, I'm just going to say one thing. I want to compliment you guys for sitting in and being excited about starting this internet sports broadcast network, because believe it or not, even though I still think we can grow a lot more, what I do like is with Smoooth Dave and getting some of the people on, it's been really fun. It's been really fun.
It's very cool.
Even when they're not on tonight, we're still having fun and laughing, and that's what life's all about,
I got to tell you, Derek McKee, I used to watch him.
He was awesome.
I loved his game. I've liked all of our people that we've had on.
Yeah.
But Derek McKee, I literally watched him in awe when I was a kid, and really respected his game. And for him to come on and be as
right
cool,
there,
be really as nice as he is, and he just seems like a good guy all the way around. Like most of ours that we've had on.
They're all been good. And the cool thing is they're willing to come on and spend an hour. Yeah. They would go as long as we wanted. That's what's cool.
Yeah. That's very cool. I feel very fortunate and
good
and blessed in a lot of ways to be able to, ask them certain questions, and hear their story and what they're doing now. It seems like all of them are being successful in their own way.
Well, I gave Smoooth a list of potential people for him to go after, and I will share that with you guys tomorrow and see where he's at. Okay?
Perfect.
Yep. Go ahead.
Well, perfect. Make sure he's good and let us know.
I will. I'll send that an email because it's not like him not to come on or even send me an email. And
Right.
so I will definitely check in with him. So, guys, we're going to say good night here in a minute, okay?
All right.
All right,
Good
guys.
night.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Internet Sports Broadcast Network. We had fun talking about fishing and a bunch of other stuff, including a movie preview tonight. So, good night, Todd the Exotic. Donovan.
All right. Y'all
We'll
be
see you
good.
guys next week. Okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.